All right. Hey, good morning. How are you? So today I want to talk about something that I was going to write up for the blog, and I just decided I'm going to make a video, and you'll see why in a minute. So on a recent Tim Ferriss show, which if you're not watching or listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast, you should be, because he gets great guests. He always has something interesting on there, whether it's something about health, business, mental health, whatever it might be. He always has the best guests on there, and I always really enjoy. I get a lot of time in the car at work, going from school to school, so listening to the podcast is a great way for me to really stay informed, to stay entertained during the day. So I listen to him a lot, and in the recent episode, he had a friend on, Dr. Peter Attia, and they did the interview in a format where he talked about with Attia, he said, what are 5 things that you're really excited about? What are 5 things that you've stopped doing, and what are 5 things that you continue to do that you still find, are beneficial for you? Attia is a medical doctor who has done a lot of experimenting and things like that, on himself. He's really interested in longevity and stuff like that. I thought it was a great format for the interview. Super funny. The guy is amazingly witty. So there's some really great stories that came out of that. But anyway, to make the long story short, I thought it would be a great way to start a small series for the blog, and I figured I would do a video for it too while I was here. So 5 things I'm excited about. We're ending 2019, getting ready for 2020. What are 5 things I'm excited about? 5 things that I stopped doing, and 5 things that I continue to do. Because things change all the time, whether it's apps that I use for training or routines or things like that, things change. And so I'm trying to, get the best bang for my buck, balance out life and things like that. So here are my 5, and 5. I'm going to just do today. 5 things I'm super excited about. Then we'll talk about in a future video 5 things I have changed or moved away from, and 5 things that I continue to do as we move into the new year. So big thing that I'm excited about more than anything in 2020 is racing. This year was really busy for us. It was not a good time to be serious about racing. You just kind of need to figure out in your life, is this a good time to do this? This year, our son was looking for a junior hockey team. We spent a lot of time and energy and effort, trying to find the right fit for him. We did a lot of travel, a lot of tryouts, a lot of money spent on stuff. It wasn't a good year to race. Our daughter's going into senior year in college. It wasn't a good year to do that. We tried to, do things like help her buy a car and do all this kind of stuff. So it was such a whirlwind year that I just knew that racing was going to suck. So I didn't do it so much. I did 2 days of Buffalo, but I trained when I could. I didn't get too stressed about it or whatever. I had a great 2 days of Buffalo race. It was fine. Cyclocross, I did it when I could. I didn't get too stressed over the results or the schedule. If I decided on a weekend I was going to go up to Canada and see my son play hockey live and in person instead of watching it on TV, I did that instead. So I really enjoyed the 2019 season with no stress, no strings attached, but I'm super excited in 2020 to really get going with racing again. The equipment is ready, the bikes have been sitting there, they're ready to go. Ready to go. So training's going to start later this month. My plans for next year: race gravel. Probably the first big race will be Paris to Ancaster. That's going to be my first goal race of the year, but also some of the other gravel grinders in there. I'm going to try to do the full BBC race season, and that's always fun. I didn't do that this year because I knew I didn't have the time. I didn't want to make the commitment to doing that. And then cyclocross in the fall. And cyclocross will have to be, again, as many as I can do, but I should be in good shape to do that. And I'm going to try my best to become more competitive in the fours and in the masters, or in the masters category. With hockey, hockey's still going to happen, the trips and things. So cyclocross is going to have to be what it is. But for the summer and spring, I'm going to try to go hard next year. So I'm excited about racing in 2020. The next thing I'm excited about, photography. I recently just got back into the whole DSLR thing, a lot of it because of school. I'm the yearbook advisor, so one thing you need for a yearbook is tons of pictures. So not only me taking pictures, so I slowly started to buy some stuff with the school funds, with our club funds, and I said, I've got to buy some stuff for myself. So I bought myself a couple lenses, I bought a nice new, I've had my Canon body, which was a D60, which is ancient. I mean, this came out in like 2002. It's one of the first digital DSLRs. So I went out and bought a new 77D body, which you're seeing on right now, with the kit lens, which is great. But I also, bought myself a 70-200 f4, which I'm going to use for sports. I've been using them for Robbie's hockey games. It's amazing. Maybe not as good as the 2.8, but you've got to know what you could afford. And looking forward to using that for yearbook, for stuff like that. But just excited about photography again. I even bought a fancy little Ortlieb bag to carry, and you saw that in the video before, to carry around in my All City, so that sometimes now in the winter it sucks to be outside, but I get out, I go take some pictures, I throw the camera in the bag, and I can take some pictures. I can pull my vlogging Insta360 camera, which is this right here. I can pull this out of there, and I can get some audio as well out of there. I'm just excited about it again, and hopefully, especially when the weather gets a little better, to vlog a little bit more, especially on the bike, and take some more pictures. So photography is number 2. The third thing is something you may never have heard of. I never had heard about it until over the fall, but ROMWOD. I dabbled in it a little bit in this fall. ROMWOD, ROMWOD. So it stands for Range of Motion Workout of the Day. So workout of the day. As soon as I heard that, I thought, oh shit, CrossFit. Not really interested in that kind of stuff. But ROMWOD has been really great. Really excited about getting into it more. One of the big things for me, is really trying to get fit. And, the bike has been a great thing. I've started running again a little bit with Sue, which is great for our relationship and everything, because she loves to run. So that's been great. But, there's so much more to your physical health than just having, that endurance and that strength, like cycling. My legs are super strong. What about my upper body and things like that? As the older I get, I hit 50 this year, my range of motion and those kind of strength things are super important. So I signed up for the ROMWOD app. I just started using it, but I gotta say, in the few workouts I've done, they're very short, 15 minutes a day maybe on average. It's sort of like yoga. I'm not really sure what Pilates is, but ROMWOD is sort of like yoga. You get into poses, you lean into them, and you just sort of let them happen. And they have great instructors that, they show people demonstrating the poses, but then the instructor talks you through it. It's very gentle but stressful at the same time. You really work the tissue and the fascia very deeply. The emphasis is really what I need, to do more exercises off the bike. It's going to help me strengthen my core and really find, I think this is going to really be a nice blend of, strength training and yoga that is going to be a good, useful mix for me. So for functional strength, I think this is going to be a really good thing. And as you get older, your range of motion is really something you should continue to work on. So for me, the ROMWOD app is going to be something exciting. So I pull out the yoga mat, get on there, spend 10-15 minutes a day when I can, get it done, and work through it. It's not cheap. It's about $14 a month. But when I think of what yoga classes cost me, or would cost me, or what a gym membership would cost me, this is $14. $14 is barely the cost of going to a movie once a month. So I'm not going to sweat the $14 to do this. So that's number 3, ROMWOD 3. Number 4, the Whoop strap. Still super excited about this. I've got the charger on right now because I've been using it all weekend. Still super jazzed about it. The review I put up already has like 1,500 or 1,600 watches, which is amazing. I don't think I've ever had a YouTube video where anyone watched it more than 5 or 6 times. So 1,600 views. So people are interested in Whoop. And the 3.0 strap has been great. You can watch the video to see that. I didn't really utilize it a ton this year with the lack of racing and training. But I do know that it gave me good guidance. It told me when I was ready to go and when I wasn't ready to go. When it said I had a high recovery rate and I went out, I crushed it. When it said, I was poorly recovered, I went out and I took it easy and I felt better for it. I really haven't gotten sick. And that's one of the things I think that people have said it has helped them when they watch their training versus their recovery from the whoop. It's helped them not to get sick. The sleep monitoring and things, just knowing that, what my sleep score is for the day has helped me to make sure that I take that seriously. So I've been really working on, doing different things before I go to bed, cutting out the caffeine a little earlier, using a sleep mask, things like that. They've worked great for me. My sleep score is usually at 100% all the time. It's fun to watch these things fluctuate and things, but as I get ready for the racing season in 2020, this is going to be a major part of it. It's not going to make me do things I didn't have planned. I'm going to stick to the plan, but I do take it into consideration what it says. Like for example, today it said I was 97% recovered. That's great, but today is not a workout day for me, so I'm just going to burn the day of readiness. I'm going to go watch the Bills game in a little while, which I could probably put down on my list of things I still am not excited about. But anyway, enough about football. So Whoop is definitely going to be a big part of it, and I'm excited to continue to use it, especially when the training load gets heavy. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like, because it really wasn't a heavy training load this year. So the Whoop strap was cool, but it's going to be really nice to see it when it's really making use of a lot of data. And then the last thing, Exert. Exert has been something I've dabbled in before. And I've got to say that the app and the website are great. You're going to see a couple things that I stopped doing. And one of the reasons I stopped doing some of the other things, or I have stopped taking the other apps more seriously, is because I'm kind of becoming a big believer that Exert is the right app for me. It's a cycling fitness tracking software. It does a little bit of what Strava or Training Peaks does. It tells you your fitness and things like that. However, it has a built-in training advisor that tells me, what type of activity I should do for the day. So basically, you determine in there, what type of cyclist you want to be. It's really only good for the bike. I know that they do have some things for the Stride power meter for running and whatnot, but it's really good for the bike, and it's really only good for the bike when you have your power meter running. But that's okay, because I have a power meter on pretty much everything but the mountain bike. So you've put in what type of racer you're trying to be, to work on those areas. So if you want to be a climber, the long sustained power efforts are going to be a big thing. If you want to work on being a sprinter, the short, quick, neuromuscular, anaerobic kind of things, it's going to track those type things and tell you how you're doing. It's going to give you a score. It's going to compare you to other people that are on the system. And it's going to tell you with the training advisor what type of activity you should do. So I go in there and I set, like for example, when I go in and start the new one, I'm going to say my goal date is April 26th, which is Paris to Ancaster. So I put in P2A. I put in the slope of the training that I want to get so that I can be at my peak then. How many hours do I want to spend a week? I can say slow. I can say moderate. I can say there's a couple moderate settings. I could say accelerated. So I can choose the slope of the training curve that I want, and it will start to tell me on a day-to-day basis what I should do. It's going to track my fitness based on the power readings and the heart rate readings from the day before. Just like Training Peaks gives you your fatigue and your form score and stuff like that. And it's going to tell you that. And it's going to give you training workouts to do. You can either take those workouts and read them and see what it's like. If it tells you, you're going to do a long ride today, you can go out and do it outside. Or you can do it on the trainer. And the great thing about Exert is it has a nice trainer interface. It's very much like Trainer Road, where it's very graphically based. And you can go and you can work on that, and it will control your smart trainer. It works great with my Cyclops Hammer I have the first one, the H1, I guess you could call it. Now they're up to H3, but I have the first initial hammer. It works great with that in erg mode. It will control it and set me at the different power levels I need to be at, and it gives me great workouts that I can pick. It's really a no-nonsense approach. I've wasted a lot of time on Zwift and other training software things, not really getting what I need out of it. The Xert one has been great. And also, I can use it just on my phone, so I mount my iPhone with the quad lock on my bars. I've got a little stem attachment for my bike that's on the trainer. I put that on there, and I really don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to worry about setting up the laptop. I don't have to worry about having a TV. Sometimes I do set those up so I can have something to keep myself occupied, but I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to worry about, I want to do a Zwift race in 5 minutes. When I turn on my laptop that I have in the basement, it says that, I've got to have an update. It doesn't say Zwift needs to update. I don't have any of those problems. I have no problems with connectivity of my heart rate monitor or the power meter. So Xert has been a great system. It's very much like TrainerRoad to me, but the thing is, instead of me picking what I should be doing, it's telling me what I should be doing. And I've got to say, when I followed it in the past, it has worked very well for me. It also will help you determine a reasonable FTP from your workouts. So if you have put a month of workouts into it, it's going to start to tell you your FTP is this or that. Testing is great, and everybody should test, but it's also great, and I think it's very accurate the way that Xert determines that on the bike itself, which I think is good. So it gives you a realistic thing, because your FTP is going to change, and if you look at your FTP as a static thing and don't take in the ups and downs of your season, you might end up hurting yourself more than anything, or you might end up shorting yourself because you're doing your workouts at 1 FTP when really your FTP is higher. So I think keeping you sensible and reasonable, I think Xert is a great way to do that. So that's my fifth and final thing. So those are my 5 things. Racing in 2020. Super excited about that. Photography, super excited, which is why I'm doing the video today. Sue went to do some shopping, so I figured, hey, I'm gonna do a vlog. ROMWOD, excited about doing that, the range of motion and working on just functional strength, for the longevity's sake. Whoop, still excited about the Whoop strap, the 3.0. I've gotten great use out of that. When I start training hard later this month for next year, it's going to make a big difference. And then the last one is Xert. So those are the 5 things I'm excited about. Whatever you're excited about, put down in the comments. And I am going to hit you with some future videos about 5 things I've stopped doing and 5 things that I continue to do and love. So there you go. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the blog. Stay tuned and look for the book reviews. That series is still going on. Hopefully I get that done for tomorrow. If not, it'll happen sometime this week. And check that out, and support the channel by buying some of those books through the links that I'm supplying down there. If you want to check out some great cameras and stuff like that, the stuff that I use for this channel, you can also see that down in the links down below. Whether you want to pick up a 77D or any of the stuff, the GX7 Mark II, or the Insta360 One X, or the GoPro 7 Hero Black, or any of that stuff, check it out. Check it out through a link and help support the channel, and I'll try to keep the content coming. Take it easy.